Part 45. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 441. Perhaps seeing the doubts on everyone's faces, Yang Lin immediately started to explain. Although going to the financial center building to break the formation is the most important task this time, if you want to break the formation they have arranged, you must deal with the group of little people in the central building. And they are not ordinary people as you think. By worshipping evil gods, they have gained the special power to summon Shikigami and use evil magic. The combat effectiveness is far beyond what ordinary people can imagine. Even the firearms in your hands can hardly cause harm to them. Pandeo can't guarantee that there will be so-called onmyojis and ninjas running onto the streets to wreak havoc. So snipers are deployed to prevent this from happening. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of everyone in the conference room suddenly darkened. They have never seen the so-called onmyoji and ninja abilities, but they are no strangers to Yang Lin. Yang Lin is now equivalent to a living god in the Dragon Kingdom, possessing all kinds of incredible methods. To be valued by him is already a recognition of strength. The leaders of various departments present immediately nodded. Daozang Yang, please rest assured that we will comply with your requirements and do our best to complete the task. Seeing how cooperative everyone was, Yang Lin also nodded slightly. Then he also made some other requests. For example, red cloth is hung on the exterior walls of many high-rise buildings around the financial center to cover the buildings. Another example is placing a huge glass mirror at certain intersections, and pointing the mirror in the direction of the financial center. Another example is placing several high-power electric speakers around the financial center. Although everyone did not understand why Yang Lin took these measures, they did not raise any questions at this moment. Baby. The meeting lasted for nearly an hour. The time came to around 4 p.m. without realizing it. He turned around and glanced at the sky outside the window, and Yang Lin made a calculation with his fingers. Get ready to go. It will be dark soon. If we wait until after dark, the evil spirit of the building will reach the extreme, and it will become more and more troublesome to deal with. As his words fell, everyone in the conference room stood up. Not long after, various agencies in the Magic City began to take action on their own. The first to take action was the Traffic Control Department of Magic City. They used the excuse of holding an important meeting to control and close the roads near the financial center building. Vehicles and pedestrians within a radius of 5 kilometers can only enter but not enter. However, the people of Magic City obviously do not believe this reason. Especially Yang Lin just led a group of Taoist priests to the Magic City. Combined with some rumors on the internet, they quickly guessed that something big was about to happen. Then a series of things happened, which proved that their guess was correct. 10 minutes later, a large number of police officers began to enter the area and controlled the residence and office buildings in the community. No one was allowed to go out, and no reason was even given. 15 minutes later, special service vehicles full of special police officers began to conduct surveillance in various neighborhoods, focusing on the areas around the financial center building. Dozens of snipers holding sniper rifles occupied the surrounding commanding heights, and their muzzles were also aimed in the direction of the financial center building. After such operations, the 5 kilometers surrounding the financial center building instantly turned into a desert island. However, the people trapped on this desert island, instead of feeling panic, were full of curiosity and excitement. One or two of them wanted to stick their heads out of the window. Some people even had the leisure to take out their mobile phones and shoot videos in the direction of the financial center building. It's just like the Inteng building in Luteng City before. The magic circle extends all the way from the top floor to the lobby on the first floor, and finally extends underground. At the same time, on the top floor of the building, the originally huge office completely changed its appearance. The carpet on the floor had long been torn apart, revealing the black ground below and the magic circle full of evil aura on the ground. As a large building hundreds of meters high, there is naturally not only one company inside. These damn little days, this is the desire to destroy our dragon kingdom? When they learned through the internet that there was a problem with the building they were in, they immediately panicked. However, when they wanted to rush out of the building, the security system in the building was immediately activated, and all exit routes were blocked instantly. Seeing this situation, the people of the Dragon Kingdom who were held hostage suddenly became even more desperate. Even the surrounding walls are the same. Did you see it? Did you see it? I said something big will happen in the Magic City. Aren't you talking nonsense? They just arrived at the Magic City on the front foot, and they are already under control in the area on the back foot. It doesn't matter what the hell. Not only do I know something big will happen, but I also know that this matter has something to do with Yang Lin and the others. The ugly and evil ghosts and gods on the altar of the ghost temple are constantly emitting black energy. A few brave ones tried to resist, but they obviously underestimated the fighting power of this group of weirdos. Brothers who live nearby, please start a live broadcast. I want to see how Yang Lin deals with them. These weirdos armed with weapons immediately hijacked everyone in the building and gathered them in the atrium on the first floor of the building. At the same time, a large number of weirdos wearing black clothes and masks also appeared in every corner of the building. I have checked and found out that the actual investors in the financial center building are all CRI, so there is a high probability that CRI wants to make some small moves in our Dragon Kingdom. And have you noticed that the center of the control area is exactly where the financial center building is located, so the problem must lie in the financial center building. Dozens of men wearing Neon Country's traditional Onmyoji costumes were constantly chanting scriptures. Their right wrists had long been cut open by sharp blades, and a large amount of blood dripped down their palms to the ground, and was then absorbed by the magic circle on the ground. They never imagined that they would be kidnapped one day just for going to work. Not all of them are young people, there are also a large number of migrant workers from the Dragon Kingdom. It seemed that a certain critical point had been reached, and the formations spread throughout the building were suddenly activated. The strange space that was originally hidden behind the secret compartment was now completely opened, revealing the gloomy ghost temple inside. The financial center building instantly turned into a torch. As soon as they stood up, a dart stuck directly into their chests. In an instant, invisible evil spirits shot up into the sky. Just when netizens were guessing the truth, the financial center building was in chaos. Some folk feng shui experts have long pointed out that there is a problem with this financial building, but no one believed it at the time. It seems that this time it is confirmed. The sky above it, which was originally clear, was instantly covered by large swathes of dark clouds. The evil spirit turned into substance and affected the celestial phenomena. The rebels lost their lives on the spot. And there was a huge quarrel on the internet in Long Kingdom because of this incident. When Yang Lin led a group of Taoist priests to the front of the financial center building, everyone was immediately shocked by the horrific scene. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 442. It was only about 4:30 at the moment, and according to the current season, there were still at least 2 hours before the sun set. Under normal circumstances, the sky should be clear. However, under such weather conditions, the top of the financial center building was covered with dark clouds. If you take a closer look, you will see that there are no dark clouds. It is clearly the evil spirit that has become extremely strong. In addition to the top, the entire financial center building was also surrounded by black evil aura. Even ordinary people can see it clearly. Immediately, everyone couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Oh my God, what is going on? I have never seen anything like this before. Is there a fire inside? No, this is not a fire, these are evil spirits. I have never seen such strong evil spirits in my life. If any place could have 1/10 of the murderous intent here, it would already be a dangerous place. It's not just a place of great evil. With such a concentration of evil energy, ordinary people would probably be unable to bear it if they stayed there for just 1 second. It would be unreasonable to live there for a whole day without getting seriously ill. What exactly did you do in those little days to make the evil spirit inside so strong? This is a place where Feng Shui flourishes. They are afraid that they have planted some evil formation inside to turn Yang into Yin. Just as everyone was sighing, a man wearing a SWAT uniform suddenly ran towards them. A special situation happened inside Taoist Yang. What special situation? After hearing this, Yang Lin couldn't help but ask. Just 10 minutes ago, there were almost 500 Long nationality staff trapped inside the financial center building. At the same time, the building's security system was activated and external signals were blocked. We seriously suspect that they were kidnapped. As soon as these words came out, everyone immediately looked over. It seems that those little days were spent preparing for a desperate fight. I didn't expect them to be so heartless. But this is just the last struggle. They must be trying to contain us through these hostages. These damn things. However, Yang Lin, who heard the loud scolding from everyone, shook his head. No, their purpose should be more than that simple. If Pandeo guessed correctly, they kidnapped these people not only to restrain us, but also prepared to sacrifice these hostages to ghosts and gods to gain more powerful power. This will forcefully activate the formation. Sacrifice. Upon hearing this unfamiliar word, everyone's expressions immediately changed. Among many film and television works, this is not a good word. It usually refers to using human life as a sacrifice to worship certain gods. Just like the human ancestors in ancient times. So they are going to kill all these 500 people, Boss Yang, who was following Yang Lin, said with a look of dismay. And Yang Lin also nodded. So you must hurry up. If you arrive late, all these people will be sacrificed. Not only will they not be able to save their lives, but it will also increase the difficulty of your operation. And the dragon veins and water veins of the demon city will be completely destroyed by them, which will lead to an irreversible disaster. After saying this, Yang Lin looked at them solemnly. Get ready to take action. The fate of tens of millions of people in the demon city is in your hands. Hearing Yang Lin's words, everyone's expressions became more serious than ever before, and the next second they strode towards the financial center building. As Yang Lin's disciples, Boss Yang, and the other 5 people walked directly to the front. Behind him were more than 200 Taoist priests from the Dragon Kingdom Taoist sect. As they walked forward, they made preparations. Not only did he take out the peachwood magic sword that he had prepared in advance, but he also took out a large number of talismans. Some of these talismans were given by Yang Lin, and some were drawn by themselves. In addition, others took out some ancestral magic weapons that had been enshrined in their masters for hundreds of years and were contaminated with a lot of karma. When they were less than 10 meters away from the main entrance of the financial center building, a strong evil spirit came towards them from the direction of the financial center building. Before he even got close, ghosts of injustice emerged from the black smoke like evil spirit. These innocent souls are full of resentment and murderous intent. Originally, if there was sunlight, they would not be so fierce. But at this moment, the area around the financial building was shrouded in clouds, and no sunlight penetrated. As a result, they became unscrupulous and rushed straight towards the Taoist priests present. Seeing that these enemies were approaching, Hua, who was walking in front, immediately blocked the magic sword in front of her and muttered something in her mouth. Xianzong of heaven and earth, the root of all things. I have cultivated extensively for hundreds of millions of kalpas to prove my magical powers. Within and outside the 3 realms, only the Tao is supreme. There is golden light in my body, which reflects my body. When he finished reciting the incantation, a bright golden light emanated from his body. He himself instantly turned into a small sun, shrouding everyone in the Taoist sect behind him in golden light. When those innocent souls blessed by evil spirits encountered these golden lights, they immediately melted like snow. Then it turned into a stream of blue smoke and disappeared into this world. In less than half a minute, all the innocent souls that were rushing toward the crowd like a tide were wiped out by Huahua's golden light spell. With the protection of the golden light spell, everyone no longer had any fear. Despite the strong evil aura, they continued to approach the financial center building. Every step he takes, there are a lot of innocent souls coming out to block him. But the final result did not change at all. He was directly purified by the golden light spell on the spot. This scene was also witnessed by residents in surrounding buildings and migrant workers who were sealed inside the building. They were also photographed with various electronic devices in their hands. Many people even started live broadcasts and shared them on major live broadcast platforms. When Huahua's fans saw Huahua showing off her skills through these live broadcasts, they immediately screamed with excitement. "Our Huahua is so handsome. I have long seen that he has the potential to be a mage, but I didn't expect that he has become a real mage now. This technique is simply not very cool. I hope he can show it to everyone when he holds a concert in the future. It is impossible to hold a concert, but it is possible if we can find a way. In the future, you don't need to use glow sticks when you support us. Each person should just hold 3 sticks of incense. A star who can't do magic is not a good singer. Huahua used to be the lead singer, but now she has become the lead singer. He's obviously the king of mid lane." In such a serious situation, no one felt nervous at all. Of course, this is only the perspective of the audience, but in fact Huahua and others are feeling a lot of pressure at this moment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 443. Falling into the financial center building is like a signal transmitting tower, continuously spreading evil energy to the surrounding area. At the same time, the evil spirit of the entire demon city was gathered. Every time they took a step closer, everyone felt as if a large stone was being pressed against them. This feeling became even stronger when they got within 2 meters of the building. Every step forward requires almost all the strength of the body. Seeing this, Kun shouted loudly to the people behind him. Everyone is ready to form a formation and work together to dispel this evil spirit. As he spoke, he took out a big flag. The apricot yellow flag is engraved with a big innate gossip. Upon seeing this, many Taoist disciples following him also took the same big flag from their backs. Under the gaze of countless pairs of eyes, Kun directly waved the big flag in his hand and directed the people behind him to arrange themselves in different positions. Not long after, they formed a mysterious formation. This formation was exactly what Yang Lin taught them before the operation began. It is called the true fire formation of the sun. This formation can attract the true fire of the sun, which is the most powerful sun. Of course, in addition to the formation, this formation also has another important element, which is sunlight. At this moment, no trace of sunlight could penetrate within a 5-kilometer radius of the entire financial center building. It was completely blocked by the thick evil spirit in the sky. No one was worried about this at all, because Yang Lin had already considered it. Just when everyone formed a big formation, those official staff outside the closed area immediately pointed the huge mirrors prepared in advance at the sun in the sky. The sunlight is then refracted by mirrors in different areas and transmitted all the way to the financial center building. Finally, they gathered at the center of the formation formed by Kun and others. In an instant, the flags in their hands seemed to be lit on fire, and began to glow with golden light. Seeing this situation, Kun Kun immediately raised the big flag in his hand and waved it from side to side. And the same goes for the adults behind him. Hundreds of flags were swaying one after another, and the sunlight that entered here after heavy refraction seemed to have been added with excellence, and instantly turned into a raging fire. The location where everyone was turned into a sea of fire, but the flame was not the usual crimson red, but a dazzling golden color, which was the true fire of the sun that restrained all evil spirits. The true fire of the sun is burning brighter and stronger, and the strong evil aura is gradually dissipating. The people's originally stagnant steps continued to move forward. By the time they approached the main entrance of the financial center building, the evil energy outside the building had been exhausted. Only the evil spirit at the top of the building still exists. But this has no impact on everyone. Seeing that she had arrived in front of the gate, Hwawa also dispersed the golden light spell on her body and turned to face the crowd. Comrades, please leave some of your people to guard outside the building and place the sun flags in your hands around the building. Be careful to prevent the evil spirits inside from escaping. The other group of people followed my senior brothers into the building. I will open an altar here later to do this, attract thunder and lightning, and completely dispel the evil spirit in the sky. In the process, my safety will be left to you. As soon as he said this, the Taoists following him nodded immediately. Don't worry, the outside is left to us, and we will protect your safety to the death. After saying that, about 50 Taoist priests placed the bright sun flags they had held around the building. At the same time, the SWAT soldiers from the brigade also ran over. Previously, there was an evil spirit that blocked them from entering, but now the evil spirit has dissipated and they can move freely. Under the arrangement of their superiors, they immediately moved in an item needed to decorate the altar, and at the same time began to protect Hwawa. Under such circumstances, Hwawa immediately followed what Yang Lin had taught her before and opened the altar on the spot. The whole process was smooth and smooth. As long as he completes the process, he can draw thunder and lightning from the 9 heavens to completely drive away the evil spirit in the sky. At the same time, the remaining 4 people, including Boss Yang, looked at the main entrance of the building in front of them with serious faces. At this moment, the main entrance of the building is tightly closed, and thick steel plates and a complete security system can still be seen faintly inside. You can even see traces of the formation on the steel plate. Obviously, in order to prevent everyone from entering, the group of young people inside also tried their best. What should we do now? Should we break in directly or break the formation outside first and then go in? In front of the gate, Xiao Yuiyu looked at everyone with a serious face. Upon hearing his question, Boss Yang quickly stretched out his fingers to do some calculations. The formation must be broken first, otherwise the door cannot be opened, and I can feel that there seems to be something on the door. After saying that, he motioned for everyone to look above their heads. Sure enough, many relief sculptures suddenly appeared on the wall directly above their heads. What those reliefs carve are all kinds of messy monsters and ghosts. They have a ferocious shape, as if they are about to come out of the wall at any time. Thinking of Yang Lin's previous instructions, a word immediately popped into their minds: Shikigami. Obviously the reliefs above their heads are the Shikigami worshipped by the young people. Then prepare to break the formation. Taking a deep breath, Xiao Yuiyu directly asked the gods to come up and transform into the innate tiger-headed body. Divine power began to emerge from the body surface. Others were not to be left behind, chanting incantations one after another and inviting gods they were familiar with to bless themselves. With the blessing of the gods, everyone's strength was immediately greatly improved. There are more means that can be used. As soon as he raised his hand, a series of magic spells hit the door. The outermost anti-theft door was destroyed by everyone in an instant, and then the thick steel plate inside was exposed. When attacked, the strange runes on these steel plates lit up immediately. Those Shikigami who were still sleeping in the relief were awakened immediately. Letting out bursts of frightening screams, it emerged from the wall and launched a frantic attack on everyone. A big war broke out. Unlike before, this time the battle scene took place in public, so everyone could see the presence of the Shikigami. You can also see people displaying various magical powers. The dazzling fighting methods and cool spells made the onlookers on the surrounding buildings stunned. Only then did they realize why the armed SWAT policemen nearby were only responsible for security work and did not participate in the direct battle. This level of battle is no longer something ordinary people can participate in. Not even with a gun. Because the opponents they faced were not human at all. And just when everyone was fighting, Huahua's approach also came to a critical moment. After he finished reciting the incantation and burning the documents, he immediately picked up the magic sword and slapped it on the incense table, and dozens of yellow talismans immediately rose into the air. As soon as the magic sword was pointed, the yellow talisman quickly exploded into flames and shot straight into the sky. The next second there was a thunder in the sky. Seeing that the thunder was about to be summoned, a black shadow suddenly jumped down from the sky above the building and hit the ground to create a huge deep hole. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 444. As the black shadow fell from the sky, a huge hole was instantly smashed into the ground in front of the financial center building. The marble slabs laid on the ground were smashed into pieces. Tiny pebbles flew around like bullets. The nearest Huahua is the first to bear the brunt. Fortunately, when the SWAT soldier next to him saw this, he quickly put up a shield in front of him. Only then did Huahua escape the disaster in a narrow way. And at this moment, everyone finally saw clearly what the black shadow looked like. I saw that this black figure was nearly 3 meters tall. It looked like a human, but it had a beast-like head and a pair of bat wings behind it. It is 80% similar to the legendary Yaksha ghost. As soon as he landed, a pair of blood-red eyes stared in the direction of Huahua. Apparently he felt the threat posed by Tianmei and jumped directly from the top of the building. After taking a look at Huahua who was doing this, the huge figure immediately took action. The SWAT soldiers who were standing in front of Huahua were knocked away by him without even having time to react. At this moment, a cruel smile appeared on his face. But at this moment, Huahua's actions have reached a critical moment. If she stops now, all the efforts she has just made will be in vain. If he doesn't stop, he can only let this monster be killed. Boss Yang and the others were also fighting with the Shikigami that kept popping up at the moment and had no energy to pay attention to him. However, the Taoist priests who had protected him before stepped forward one by one at this moment. It's just that this Yaksha ghost is really strong, which is a bit outrageous. His muscles were as if they were made of steel, and his strength was even more astonishing. Without using any magic, he just relied on his body and a steel fork in his hand to beat everyone back, leaving them with no ability to fight back. After easily suppressing everyone, he rushed towards Huahua again. Seeing this scene, many Huahua fans who were watching in the nearby building couldn't help but scream. It was as if they could already foresee what would happen next. However, just when he was about to throw the steel fork in his hand at Huahua, a figure even bigger than him suddenly jumped out from the side. Roar! With a terrifying tiger roar, Little Tiger, the general who guarded the mountain personally appointed by Yang Lin, appeared in front of everyone in the form of a monster with a tiger head and a human body. The monster, which was originally more than 3 meters tall, looked like a small bean sprout in front of the little tiger who was more than 4 meters tall. The little tiger not only slapped the iron fork he threw aside, but also slapped it away. And he also swung his tail like a steel whip, whipping the Yaksha ghost directly to the side, and hit a stone statue nearby heavily. But the Yaksha ghost seemed as if nothing happened. The moment it landed, it immediately flapped its wings and flew towards the little tiger. Seeing this, the little tiger didn't show any signs of weakness. He kicked off the ground with his hind feet and jumped out with his huge body. In the next second, he grabbed the Yasha ghost flying in the air and pressed it hard to the ground. The violent force even pushed the Yasha ghost's entire body into the ground. During this process, the Yasha ghost tried to resist, but the little tiger didn't give him the chance at all. He opened his bloody mouth and bit his neck. His skin, which was tough enough to withstand bullets, was like paper in front of the sharp teeth of the little tiger. The little tiger exerted only a slight force, and his neck and throat were bitten off. In an instant, large amounts of blood spurted out. The Yasha ghost tilted his head, opened his eyes, and died on the spot. After he was completely dead, his body began to change. More than 10 seconds later, the originally ferocious Yaksha ghost turned into an ordinary-looking middle-aged man. Seeing this scene, everyone immediately realized that this Yaksha ghost was actually created by Xiao Tian using some special method. The people watching from the tall buildings immediately exploded. Isn't it so exciting today? Not only can we see the Taoist priests of the Dragon Kingdom and the Onmyoji of Zairi, we can also see the battle between monsters. Where did you learn these evil ways in those young days? How can a good person turn into such a monster? Fortunately, we also have one in the Dragon Kingdom, and the big tiger spirit is more powerful. What tiger spirit? He is the protector of the Taoist section. When I went to Lutang City a few days ago, I saw his statue in the Yangzi temple. I was still thinking at that time why such a big tiger was enshrined in the temple. If you put it this way, this big tiger is still a righteous god. This scene is so exciting. It doesn't feel as exciting as watching a science fiction movie. It's a good thing that our Dragon Kingdom has a Taoist sect to protect us, otherwise no one would be able to deal with these little people. Look, Huahua's cooking seems to be almost finished. Just as everyone was discussing, the sound of rolling thunder suddenly came from the sky. Thunder sounds from far to near, from small to loud. At first they were just dots, but later they became one piece, one after another. At the same time, large swaths of black clouds also descended above the evil spirit, with countless lightning snakes rolling inside. The sound was so huge that it could be seen clearly even from hundreds of kilometers away. It is precisely because of the appearance of these thunders and lightnings that the Shikigami summoned by the Onmyoji below began to become uneasy. His eyes looked toward the sky with fear. The next second, Huahua, who was standing in front of the altar, drew the magic sword in his hand and let out a loud shout. "Thunder Lord, help me!" As soon as he finished speaking, a lightning bolt as thick as a bucket fell from the cloud and hit the top of the financial center building. Boom! After an explosion, more than half of the evil energy that had gathered together was instantly eliminated. And this is just the beginning. After the first thunder and lightning falls, there will soon be the second, third, and fourth. 9 thunderbolts fell in a row, and the originally strong evil aura above the entire financial center building was completely swept away. Without the evil spirit as a shield, the evil spirit around the building began to slowly dissipate. After the dark clouds overhead completely dissipated, the dazzling sunlight shone on the financial center building again. As soon as the sunlight hit the previously ferocious Shikigami monsters, they immediately melted like snow upon exposure to the sun. In less than a minute, they disappeared amid bursts of screams. The evil formation that originally shrouded the entire building also became dim. Seeing this situation, everyone outside the building immediately stopped hesitating and rushed towards the main entrance of the building. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 445. Without the blessing of the formation, the security system inside the financial center building is just like a decoration to everyone. Xiao Yuiya just punched out, and the steel plate a few centimeters thick was penetrated by his punch. Then with a slight force, he tore a big hole in the door, revealing the situation inside the building. I saw hundreds of figures sitting there quietly in the lobby on the first floor. Judging from their appearance, they should be the same group of ordinary workers who were held hostage by Xiao Zheng earlier. Seeing their appearance, Xiao Yuyu subconsciously prepared to rush in and rescue them first. However, at this moment, Boss Yang stretched out his hand to stop him. "Be careful, there may be a scam in it." Hearing these words, Xiao Yuyu stopped immediately and glanced around the building. Soon he noticed something was wrong. The hostages sitting in the hall at the moment all looked dull and dull. Their wrists were all cut open, and blood was flowing to the ground continuously. A huge magic circle appeared on the ground, and all the blood they shed was absorbed by this magic circle. So much so that the huge hall was filled with the smell of blood. At this moment, Lu Tianxian, who was standing in the middle of the crowd, suddenly took out a few yellow talismans from his body and handed them to everyone. After everyone took one look at the yellow talisman, they immediately put it on their eyes. As a ray of light flashed, the situation in the hall immediately changed. I saw some black figures lurking in those dark corners that were originally empty. These figures were wrapped in black tights from head to toe, and held a sharp samurai sword in their hands. No one could see them before, so they obviously used some secret method to hide their figures. Seeing these men in black, they immediately looked at each other silently. Then he pretended not to see anything. There was a trace of fear in their hearts. If they had just stepped into the hall rashly, they would have been attacked by these people immediately. Thinking of this, several people immediately lowered their voices and whispered, "What to do now? Just rush in and fight them. It's better to find a way to rescue those hostages first. These people look very tough, and they have weapons in their hands. We don't care. What if they slaughter the hostages at will after we rush in? What can we do to get rid of all the hostages without harming them?" While several people were thinking about countermeasures, Lu Tianxian suddenly opened his crossbody bag. "I think this matter should be resolved easily." After hearing her words, everyone immediately looked at her in confusion. The next second everyone's eyes were attracted to the figure inside her crossbody bag. Inside her crossbody bag, there was a figure as white as snow, lying quietly inside. When the satchel was opened, it seemed that it had just woken up, and a pair of sapphire-like eyes was looking outside curiously. "Isn't this the little fox next to the master? Why is it here? That's really it? So it was sleeping in your bag just now?" Hearing everyone's questions, Lu Tianxian nodded immediately. "Yes, after the master gave it to me, it has been sleeping in the bag. Then what's the use of taking it out now? Is it possible that he can help us go in and rescue those hostages?" Faced with everyone's doubts, Lu Tianxian suddenly showed a mysterious smile. "He definitely won't be able to save hostages, but don't underestimate his ability." After saying that, she took the little guy out of the satchel with a gentle look and placed it on the ground. As soon as he landed on the ground, the 9 big tails like big feather dusters stretched out from behind the little guy's butt. The size of this tail is almost several times larger than its body. Just when everyone was confused, the little guy suddenly expanded rapidly like a balloon. In less than a minute, it turned into a huge beast, with a lotus mark appearing between its eyebrows. For some reason, when everyone looked at it, they felt that it was particularly enchanting. The little fox, which grew bigger in the next second, strutted towards the interior of the hall. When walking, an invisible charm spreads towards the inside with it as the center. When it was about to reach the middle of the hall, figures suddenly walked out of the dark corners around it. And these figures are the black-clothed killers who were hidden in the dark corners before. At this moment, they actually took off their disguises on their own. Not only that, they seemed to have lost their souls and took the initiative to throw the samurai swords in their hands to the ground with a clang. Then, his figure swayed, his eyes were confused, and he walked towards the door step by step. Such a strange scene instantly stunned everyone outside the door. What's going on? Why do these people seem to lose control all of a sudden? Did they surrender voluntarily? No, their eyes are very wrong. Thinking of the little fox's actions just now, they suddenly made a bold guess. Aren't they all controlled by the little fox? So is the little fox's ability group control? Or is it group charm? It's absolutely outrageous. These three little animals raised by the master are indeed more awesome than the other. Stop talking so much and get these guys under control quickly, otherwise they will wake up later and they will be in trouble. You're right, let's all come together. While they were talking, everyone present could not care about that much anymore. They swarmed up, punched and kicked the men in black, and then severely handcuffed them with the handcuffs of the special police. What was originally a very complicated matter became so simple after the little fox participated. After all the men in black were controlled, the little fox who had just made a great achievement returned to its original size of a little beast. While yawning, he jumped back into Lu Tianxian's satchel and continued to sleep soundly. At this time, the little tiger that had killed the Rakshasa ghost came to Xiao Yui's side and jumped directly onto his shoulder. Without the obstruction of the men in black, everyone immediately rushed into the hall, rescued all the hostages inside, and sent them to the hospital through 120 in time. At this time, they also discovered that the magic circle on the ground was already filled with blood. An extremely evil aura immediately emanated from it. At the same time, the entire building began to shake violently. The source of the vibration was suddenly directly underneath the building. Under the gaze of countless eyes, terrifying cracks suddenly appeared on the ground outside the financial center building. With a loud noise, the ground within a radius of 100 meters began to collapse. Finally, a sinkhole nearly 100 meters deep appeared around the financial building. Although the financial center building in the middle is still standing, it has turned into an island. Such a horrifying scene immediately shocked everyone, but the most terrifying thing was the bottom of the pit. Looking down from the sky, I saw that at some point in the pit, a series of Beijing temples made of human heads had appeared. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 446. Outside the financial center building, a huge sinkhole suddenly appeared. Such a scene instantly made those who were watching the excitement turn pale. If the police hadn't evacuated and sealed off the surrounding area in advance, no one knows how many people would have fallen into the sinkhole at this moment. Once you fall into that hundreds of meters drop, there is absolutely no chance of survival. But before they could recover from the shock caused by the sinkhole, the situation at the bottom of the sinkhole attracted their attention again. And when the onlookers on the surrounding high-rise buildings turned their curious eyes to the bottom of the sinkhole, the scene they saw in front of them once again shocked them. Oh my God, what's down there? Is it a pyramid? How could the pyramid look like this? Let me zoom in and take a look. I have a drone, and I control it and fly over to take a look. While talking, these people each used their own methods to check the situation at the bottom of the sinkhole. However, when they zoomed in and the drone flew to the bottom of the sinkhole, their scalps became numb unconsciously. At the bottom of the pit, a total of 10 bone towers made of human skulls stood tall. The foundation pillars of the financial center building are tightly surrounded in the middle. There is an evil aura exuding all the time. The most critical thing is that black liquid is still seeping out from the pillars below the financial center building, and eventually flows into these tall towers with human heads. After the shock, these people immediately exploded. What the hell is this? It looks too evil. It's not just an evil sect, it's simply an evil section with so many skulls. How many corpses are needed? Why did they build these human skulls into a pyramid shape? I think I've heard of this thing. It's recorded in history books. It's called Jingguan. During ancient wars, the victorious side used it to show off its military exploits. They cut off the heads of all the war dead and stacked them together. On the one hand, they wanted to shock the place, and on the other hand, they wanted to show off themselves. This method is extremely harmful to one's moral character. Legend has it that it can also seal the souls of the deceased within it, making it impossible for them to be reincarnated. Made, such an evil thing is placed under the financial center building. It would be strange if nothing happens here. It seems that those little days were spent plotting evil things. I always have a bad feeling. I feel like something bigger may happen later. Damn it, shut up, you crow's mouth. While the melon-eating people were panicking, a group of leaders from the Magic City also came to the edge of the sinkhole. When they reached their heads and looked at the bottom of the sinkhole, their faces were extremely ugly. This is their territory anyway, and they are more worried than anyone else if such a big thing happens. Involuntarily, they all looked aside. And there, Yang Lin, who was wearing a Taoist robe, was looking calmly at the financial center building in front of him. Daozang Yang, what is this thing down here for? It won't have any impact on this place. A middle-aged leader finally couldn't help but ask. Hearing his question, Yang Lin turned his head and glanced at Rentujing Guan below, and then at everyone present. This thing is the formation used by Xiao Tian to corrupt the feng shui of this place and destroy the dragon veins and water veins of the demon city. Upon hearing this, all the leaders present immediately became anxious. Taoist priest, what should we do now? Destroy these things directly. Do you need us to send a helicopter over? A few rounds will blow up these damn things. It shouldn't be that simple. Looking at the anxious faces, Yang Lin continued to explain. These Jingguan are just the appearance of the formation. Even if you blow them up now, it won't have much effect because it has already started to take effect. If you want to completely disable them, you have to start at the root. After saying that, he pointed to the pillars under the financial center building. On the pillar, like an isolated island, huge reinforced concrete stone pillars from top to bottom were clearly visible. These stone pillars are covered with runes, and the unknown black liquid that just flowed down came from these stone pillars. In addition, these stone pillars are driven into the ground like nails. These pillars are the trapped dragon piles here. On the one hand, they are responsible for the load bearing of the building, and on the other hand, they are deeply inserted into the underground dragon veins, imprisoning the dragon veins of the demon city in this place, and extracting the dragon energy from the dragon veins. At this moment, the dragon vein here only has its last breath left. Is it just a matter of blowing up these pillars? Another middle-aged leader asked from the side. This time Yang Lin still shook his head. If these pillars are blown up, the financial center building will collapse and fall into the river beside it. This is like cutting off the water veins of the demon city with one knife. The consequences will not be lighter than cutting off the dragon veins of the demon city. Then what should we do? Taoist Yang, you must help us. Faced with everyone's pleading, Yang Lin suddenly smiled at this moment. Don't worry, my disciples and fellow Taoists will help you solve it. You just have to wait patiently here. After saying that, he looked at the financial center building ahead again. At this moment, Boss Yang and the other 5 people had already led the group of Taoists to explore the top of the building. Without the previous ninjas to stop them, they never suffered any attacks along the way. But the more this happened, the more worried they became. It seems that they have reached the last step. The onmyoji of those young days should have hid on the top of the building by now. We have to hurry up. If we wait until they completely awaken the ghosts and gods inside and then activate the formation below, the dragon veins and water veins will be destroyed immediately, the building will collapse as a result, and we will have no chance at all. Why is this building so tall? While talking, Boss Yang and the other 5 people led a group of Taoist priests to climb up the building as fast as possible. It took them less than 10 minutes to reach the top of a 100-story building. and when they reached the top floor of the building, a strange scene appeared in front of them. In the direction directly opposite the staircase, an empty space was clearly visible. A familiar magic circle is carved on the ground of the space, and there is a strong smell of blood inside the magic circle. No one else was seen. They were originally worried that they would be attacked by Zairi when they came here, but the result was far beyond their expectations. Just when everyone was in shock and confusion, a series of strange sounds suddenly came from somewhere in front. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 447. Looking at the huge empty space in front of them, everyone looked at each other unconsciously. What's going on? Aren't those little days here? It's impossible. This is already the top floor, and above that is the rooftop. They won't all run to the rooftop and jump off the building. This formation is exactly the same as the one on the first floor. It seems that they have also sacrificed with blood. The formation has been completed. I'm afraid something has been awakened. Wait, listen, there seems to be some noise over there. As he spoke, everyone fell silent collectively. Just then the weird sound came again. Gaba, gaba. Unconsciously, everyone thought of the sound of domestic dogs gnawing bones. But it's obviously impossible for a dog to come up here. Everyone, be careful, I'm afraid there might be something strange inside. While holding the mahogany sword across his chest, Boss Yang conveniently affixed a yellow talisman to himself. The next second a faint mask of light appeared on her body. When other people saw this, they also hurriedly followed suit. After they were ready, everyone immediately cheered up and started walking inside. After walking for almost 20 meters, they finally arrived at the space they had seen before. The weird sound also became closer and closer. When they followed the sound and looked towards the source of the sound, a long corridor appeared in front of them to the right. At the end of the dark corridor, a ghost temple with an eerie shape is located there, which seems so out of place with this building full of modern technology. Everyone could even feel the gusts of wind blowing from inside. But what puzzled everyone was that the altar in the ghost temple was empty at the moment. According to common sense, it will never be empty no matter what. And according to what Yang Lin said before, this ghost temple should enshrine a statue of ghosts and gods from the early days, and inside the statue is a war criminal from the early days. Except that the ghost temple was empty, they didn't see any human figures inside. What's going on? There's no trace of those little days here. Where did they go? Could it be that he escaped by helicopter from the rooftop? It's unlikely. The police have sealed this place. If they really dare to leave by helicopter, they will immediately fire a rocket. Maybe they all hid in that temple. How many people can be hidden in such a small temple? Before anyone could figure out what was going on, a terrifying howl suddenly erupted from the gloomy ghost temple. Then a black shadow flew out from inside. Subconsciously, everyone immediately hid aside. When they saw the black shadow flying out clearly, they immediately took a breath of cold air. On the ground in front of them, a middle-aged man with only his upper body left was lying there in a bloody state. There was a steady stream of blood flowing out from underneath him. But even though he was so seriously injured, he was still not dead, and there was even a crazy smile on his slightly elegant face. Especially after seeing everyone, he laughed even more wildly. Ha 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 ha, you are too late. The evil god has revived, and his power will soon penetrate into the dragon veins below and completely kill the dragon veins in the demon city. At that time, even gods will be powerless. You all must die too. However, just as he finished speaking, another black shadow suddenly rushed out of the ghost temple. If he hadn't been quick to grasp the edge of the building with his claws, he would have fallen directly downstairs. Just when everyone was beaten and unable to fight back, Lu Tianxian, who was fighting the monster, was accidentally choked by the monster. At this moment, they finally understood why the onmyoji from those small days were gone. The powerful aura, terrifying appearance, and evil aura made everyone who saw its appearance tremble all over. Just as they were sizing up the ghoul in front of them, the ghoul that had just eaten a person suddenly jumped up and flew towards the crowd. From time to time, someone would be seriously injured. Poof, he spat out a mouthful of blood at the small sword. On the contrary, everyone was shocked by this scene. Seeing that Lu Tianxian was about to die on the spot, Boss Yang suddenly took out a small purple sword from his sleeve. When the others saw that Xiao Yuiyu, who was possessed by the god, could not even catch a blow from the monster, the panic in their hearts reached the extreme in an instant. At this time, the little tiger who had been hiding in Xiao Yuiyu also took the initiative to join the battle. If nothing else, they have all sacrificed their bodies to the so-called evil god, which is the guy in front of them. Unconsciously, they thought of a kind of monster that exists in film and television works, the ghoul. Without any time to think about it, everyone immediately played yellow talismans. Under the gaze of hundreds of pairs of eyes, the sword light directly penetrated the monster's head. It was as if death had no fear for him. However, these yellow talismans, which have a powerful restraint effect on ordinary evil spirits, had no effect at all when they hit the ghoul. Seeing that it was about to pounce, Xiao Yuiyu, who had already completed his transformation, rushed forward without saying a word, trying to stop it with his own strength. Follow their gaze. Needless to say, it is the ghost and god who was born through evil worship in the early days. There was still a trace of fanaticism on this man's face until his death. Seeing this scene, everyone was immediately shocked and angry, but their attacks had little effect on the monster. At the entrance of the corridor, an ugly monster with a height of more than 2 meters and a body length of nearly 3 meters, with its limbs touching the ground and a head almost as big as its body, looked at them with a cruel expression. This shows what level of strength this monster has reached. There are vague traces of human beings still visible on his body. The little tiger who had been invincible before turned out to be no match for the monster, and was beaten back again and again. In front of everyone, the monster was about to put Lu Tianxian into his mouth. In front of everyone, a bloody mouth swallowed the remaining half of his body directly into his stomach. The previous ghost and god in Luteng City was simply weak compared to it. More than 100 people fought back and forth with the ghoul in this small space, but they couldn't get any advantage. They can't even imagine that there are such terrifying monsters in this world. Without saying a word, he used his strongest means and invited various gods to help him fight. The ghoul just waved its arm casually, and Xiao Yuiyu was knocked away on the spot, smashing the glass on the side. The next second, the small sword immediately turned into a sword light that could not be caught by the naked eye and flew towards the monster. But he still underestimated the power of the evil god. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 448. In the top space of the financial center building, as the purple sword light lit up, a huge hole immediately appeared on top of the head of the huge ghoul. Its monstrous power also dissipated instantly. Under the gaze of everyone, he fell to the ground with a plop. He lost his breath on the spot. And Lu Tianxian, who was originally caught in his hand, also fell to the ground. While everyone came to care, they also didn't forget to take stock of the ghoul's condition. After confirming that it was dead, they immediately looked at each other in shock. He just died. This is too sudden. After all, he was a big boss. Why did he die all of a sudden? What on earth was that thing that just flew by? It looks like a flying sword. At this point, everyone present immediately turned to Boss Yang. At this moment, the purple flying sword from before also fell into Boss Yang's hands again. She looked at the bloodless Boss Yang and then looked at the flying sword in her hand. Facing everyone's gaze, Boss Yang could only smile bitterly and said, "Master lent it to me temporarily before leaving. With my magic power, I can barely push it. Just this one moment almost cost me half my life. After listening to her explanation, everyone suddenly realized. As expected, Master is very considerate. If it hadn't been for him, we might have been in trouble this time. Xiao Yuiyu, who had just climbed up from outside, said with emotion on his face. The other people present nodded their heads after hearing this. There is no doubt that if Yang Lin had not provided them with various conveniences this time, they would never have gone as smoothly as they did now. Not to mention that he would not be able to kill this ghost and god created in his childhood so easily. After everyone present gradually calmed down, they were ready to clean up the place. By the way, find out the core of the formation that Zairi has set up in this building. However, at this moment, bursts of black energy began to emerge from the body of the ghoul that had just been killed. The huge body shrank rapidly like decay, and finally turned into an ordinary human corpse. Before anyone could figure out why there was such a change, the black energy flowing out of the ghoul immediately merged into the magic circle on the ground. The originally motionless magic circle was immediately activated by this strange aura. Today the whole building started to shake slightly. One after another, evil spirits flowed into the ground through the pillars inside the building. After realizing something was wrong, everyone immediately looked down the building through the nearby windows. Everyone was shocked at just one glance. I saw a large amount of black liquid suddenly emerging from the deep and bottomless sinkhole below. In the end, everything flowed to those bones and temples. Faintly, they could still hear waves of low and feeble dragon roars. Hearing this voice, Kun Kun's expression among the crowd immediately changed. Not good. Their formation is still effective. If this continues, the dragon veins below will be completely killed by them. Let's quickly set up a formation and purify all the evil spirits here. As he spoke, no one dared to hesitate any longer. One by one, they found a good position and sat cross-legged. Under the leadership of Wawa, they recited the golden mantra loudly. In an instant, bursts of golden light began to appear on everyone's bodies. Wherever the golden light went, the black evil spirit was immediately purified. However, this was not enough. There was too much evil energy coming out of the ghost's corpse. As a last resort, Kunkin could only take out various feng shui wonders prepared in advance from his backpack and place them in different corners of the space. During this process, the building began to shake more and more. The exterior glass on many floors began to shatter and fall, and cracks appeared on the building. When this scene fell into the eyes of the people around them, they were immediately frightened and screamed repeatedly. Naturally, this also includes the leaders of Magic City. As anxious as ants on a hot pot, they could only turn their eyes to Yang Lin for help. Daozang Yang, this situation doesn't look good. Yeah, the building looks like it's going to collapse soon. It's over now. I'm afraid they couldn't stop those little people. Not to mention the wild animals in the zoo. Yes, it seems that the Taoist priests above finally won. However, just when everyone became panicked and finally arrived at the pillars under the building, successfully cutting off the evil spirits that had turned into reality. Even the animals are aware of it. This building probably won't collapse for a while. As these pillars fractured, the already stable building began to crumble again. Before everyone could finish speaking, large groups of dark clouds suddenly appeared in the sky. This situation is already a precursor to an earthquake. The top floor of the financial center building suddenly burst into dazzling golden light. Seeing this scene, all the people from all walks of life on the top floor of the building. Without the supply of evil energy, the dragon-slaying formation below also stopped functioning. Isn't it because the formation set up by Zairi has taken effect? Can the dragon veins of our magic city be preserved? An ominous premonition quickly appeared in the hearts of every citizen of Magic City. The senior leaders of the Magic City below all breathed a long sigh of relief. Immediately afterwards, the violent shaking disappeared, and the building gradually became stable. Domestic cats and dogs, stray animals on the street, and snakes, insects, rats, and ants hiding in dark corners suddenly become restless. Everything became calm again. And the situation inside the sinkhole doesn't look normal. Faced with this situation, everyone became panicked. A series of dozens of flames exploded from those thick pillars. The dragon veins in the demon city will not really be destroyed by them, right? Eventually the stone pillars of these reinforced concrete structures were blown apart. It was as if something terrible was about to happen. As time goes by, golden light gradually radiates from the top of the building downwards. This scene immediately stunned everyone present. Dragon Vein, which was already dying, also got a chance to breathe. From a feng shui perspective, it will inevitably cause a catastrophic disaster in the short term, and in the long term, the development of a city will be completely destroyed. Great, it's finally solved. The originally clear sky in the Magic City was instantly shrouded in darkness. However, as soon as he finished speaking, there was an explosion from the pillar below the building. These dark clouds quickly covered the sky above the entire demon city. And this explosion was like a switch, immediately triggering a chain reaction. I want to know what will happen if the Dragon Vein is really completely destroyed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 449. Everyone thought that the matter had calmed down, but they never expected that the pillars under the building would explode. When they saw the series of bursts of fire, they were all stunned. But soon they also understood what was going on. What a fool, they actually planted a time bomb down there in advance. Even if we break their formation, they will blow up the building. And according to their arrangement of explosion points, after the building collapses, it will just fall into the river beside it. In this way, as Taoist Yang said just now, this saber will directly cut off the water veins of the demon city. What a vicious mind! However, it is obviously too late for everyone to understand this at this moment. Those thick stone pillars are the foundation of this financial center building. Now that the foundation has been blown apart, it naturally has no load-bearing capacity. The tall building above, more than 400 meters high, became crumbling as a result. Then, under the witness of countless pairs of eyes, the building, which cost billions and took nearly 10 years to build, began to slowly fall to one side. Boss Yang and others who were on the top floor of the building also felt the changes in the building. The body began to slide uncontrollably towards the leaning side. If they hadn't grabbed the stairs of the building and the pillars next to them in time, they would have slipped out of the broken window at this moment. Even if they could barely control their bodies, panic showed on their faces unconsciously. Damn it, haven't we already stopped their formation? Why is this building still collapsing? Needless to say, those little guys must have blown up the foundation under the building. These bastards are not prepared to leave us any chance of survival. I can't control that much now. I just want to know what would happen to us on the top floor if the building fell down directly. What else could the outcome be? If you fall from such a high altitude, you will definitely be dead. Let's take advantage of this moment to quickly think of ways to save our lives. While they were talking, everyone on the top floor began to use their own means to save their lives. Some people invite gods to protect their bodies, while others plaster their bodies with talismans. Boss Yang and the other 5 people had already taken out their flying swords, ready to fly away at any time. Although this is somewhat sorry for the other people present, it is better than everyone dying here together. At the same time, the speed of the building's collapse suddenly began to accelerate. When the onlookers in the surrounding buildings saw this scene, their hearts were in their throats. Many timid people even covered their eyes and did not dare to look. They could already predict how much noise it would cause when the huge financial center building hit the river next to it. I am afraid that the river will be cut off on the spot. However, just when everyone thought that the collapse of the financial center building was a foregone conclusion, Yang Lin leisurely walked towards the place where the building was about to collapse. Seeing this scene, the leaders of Magic City immediately spoke out to remind him. Taoist Master Yang, don't go that way anymore, it's very dangerous. Yes, once the building falls down, there will be a danger zone hundreds of meters away. We must evacuate immediately. Since the result cannot be changed, we can only find ways to minimize the risk. However, Yang Lin seemed not to hear the shouts of the crowd and continued to walk in the direction of the collapsed building. It was at this moment that everyone suddenly realized that he seemed to be getting bigger with every step he took. When he was 100 meters away from the building, he had turned into a 10-meter tall giant. When he reached 50 meters away from the building, his figure expanded to about 100 meters. Such a picture instantly attracted everyone's attention. They even doubted whether they had seen it wrong. Suddenly, a 100-meter giant jumped out. However, just as they were rubbing their eyes desperately, the 100-meter giant suddenly grew again. 200 meters, 300 meters, 400 meters, until it is taller than the financial center building. The more than 400-meter tall financial center building only reached his chest. At this moment, everyone on the top floor of the financial center building also saw the giant outside. While he was extremely shocked, his face also showed a look of extreme joy. This is Master. Oh my God, how did he get so big? The ancestral Master has appeared. Could this be the legendary magical power, heaven and earth? I don't know when we will be able to master such powerful magical powers. Just when everyone was feeling confused, two huge palms firmly supported the slowly falling building. Instantly the building stopped. In the next second, the big hands pushed the building back to its original position. After doing this, he even briefly reinforced the bottom of the building. A skyscraper more than 400 meters high is like a toy in his hands, and he can play with it freely. After doing this, the originally crumbling financial center building instantly returned to its original appearance. Yang Lin slowly retracted his hand and even patted the dust on his palm. The moment they slapped their palms, everyone felt a burst of thunder and gusts of wind coming towards them. It almost blew everyone on the top floor away. Perhaps sensing something was wrong with his behavior, Yang Lin immediately stuck his head out the window on the top floor and smiled awkwardly at everyone. The next second he stretched out his two giant palms and motioned for everyone to come forward. When everyone saw this, they didn't dare to delay, and they immediately walked into his palm one by one. In Yang Lin's huge palm, they felt like ants. Soon, with the movement of Yang Lin's palm, they were successfully placed on the ground. It was only then that everyone present and the melon eaters watching on the nearby building finally reacted. In an instant, the scene burst into extremely warm applause. The scene that just happened really stunned them. They originally thought that the financial center building was completely hopeless and that it was doomed no matter what. However, no one expected that Yang Lin would turn into a 100-meter giant at this critical moment. This huge crisis that affected the entire city was easily resolved. Such a unique rescue method even reminded them of a certain special effects movie. Amid the applause and cheers of the crowd, Yang Lin returned to his original size again. This crisis has finally come to an end. However, the impact of this incident has only just begun. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 450. Because the financial center building is located in the bustling area of the Magic City. There are countless office buildings hundreds of meters high in the surrounding area, as well as high-rise residential buildings. There are at least nearly 1 million people in the 5-kilometer containment area centered on the financial center building. And these nearly 1 million people were all witnesses to the incident just now. They witnessed the entire incident with their own eyes. From the time this area was forcibly sealed off, to the various changes that occurred inside and outside the financial center building. And in the end, Yanglin transformed into a giant hundreds of meters tall, holding the building back from falling. Such scenes deeply shocked their eyes and hearts, and were also uploaded to the Chinese internet through their mobile phones and various shooting equipment. Major social media and major short video platforms were quickly swept by these videos. Almost every one of them is extremely popular. Even just a casual photo will attract the attention of millions of netizens because the content they captured is so incredible and shocking. One of the videos from the Douyin short video platform quickly stood out due to the shortest shooting distance, the most stable viewing angle and the clearest picture. Within 20 minutes of its release, it had over 100 million views, millions of likes and millions of comments. The comment area was filled with messages from netizens from different regions of the Dragon Kingdom. I knew it, I knew it. I had long said that if Yanglin brought so many Taoist priests to the devil's capital, something big must have happened. Sure enough, something big happened. I didn't expect it to make such a big fuss. The entire area is sealed off. This is something that has never happened in the Magic City. There is indeed something wrong with this building. He has already had bad intentions in building this building in the Magic City these days. They really want to use this building to destroy the feng shui of the Magic City. How dare they? Why don't you dare? These bastards have been coveting my great Dragon Kingdom for more than a day or two. If you can't come to the bright side, you can only come to the dark side. Fortunately, we have experts like Yanglin in our Dragon Kingdom, otherwise something big would have happened this time. Who would have thought that the people at the front of the charge this time would actually be several celebrities? I have to say that after this incident, my views on the 5 of them have changed again. All of a sudden, I went from being a young person in the entertainment industry to a profound Taoist priest. I'm suddenly not used to it. We can no longer use the 3 words little fresh meat to call them. Buddhism in prosperous times, Taoism in troubled times, what the ancients said is absolutely correct. Whenever we encounter such a disaster, only the Taoist masters will stand up. I can feel the danger of this time even through the screen. Who would have thought that so many crooked tricks were devised in those little days? But they still stole these things from our Dragon Kingdom. How can the apprentice defeat the master? I just want to say here that Yanglin is awesome. He is even better than Otuman. In his childhood, Otuman probably got his inspiration from the magical powers, laws, heavenly phenomena, and earth of our Dragon Kingdom. As the popularity of the video continues to rise, there are more and more comments like this. While netizens lamented the danger of this incident, they also expressed their sincere admiration for Daemon's efforts. Fans of those celebrities were filled with pride after seeing the performance of their idols. But among the many emotions, the strongest one is probably everyone's resentment towards those little people. After knowing what Xiao Tian did in the financial center building, the internet immediately became full of curses, all of which were denounced against them. They not only cursed on the internet in Longguo, but also went to the outside world to curse. By the way, Xiaoli's actions will be made public. However, the theory of Feng Shui is too metaphysical after all, and it is difficult to resonate on the internet. Xiaoli's official did not provide an explanation on this matter. But netizens can't control that much. Not only are netizens who are proficient in hacking technology, they have blasted all important websites in Xiaoli. There are also netizens who live in the hometown of Xiaoli and go directly to their sacred toilets to throw feces. There are even some folk Feng Shui enthusiasts who are ready to fight an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and directly organize groups to go to Xiaoli to destroy their Feng Shui. The Dragon Kingdom officials were also unexpectedly strong this time. Not long after the incident at the Magic City Financial Center building, they immediately imposed controls on all new construction projects invested by the Neon Kingdom in the Dragon Kingdom. Those that have been built will be strictly inspected. Those under construction were ordered to stop. The specific final results will be handed over to the Longguo Taoist Association for review. At the same time that the internet world was turbulent, the leaders and senior officials of Magic City were dealing with the aftermath. Next to the financial center building, their eyes were still on Yanglin as before. Apparently they had encountered something that they couldn't resolve or decide. Taoist Master Yang, now that the Feng Shui formation and evil spirits in this building have been eliminated, I wonder when the dragon veins below will be restored. And this building, should we keep it? Or should we just demolish it? Listening to the series of questions, Yang Lin gave the answers one by one without thinking too much. Although the dragon-slaying formation they set up has been destroyed, the dragon veins below have been severely damaged by them, and their vitality has long been severely damaged. If we want to recover under normal circumstances, it will take at least 100 years, and within these 100 years, some minor disasters will definitely occur in the Magic City from time to time. As soon as these words came out, the faces of all the leaders present suddenly became a little ugly. After what happened before, they already knew the important influence of Feng Shui dragon veins on the development of a place. Now that I heard Yang Lin say this, how could I not be anxious? However, just when they wanted to ask about the rescue method, Yang Lin spoke before them. Of course there are other remedies. What you have to do before that is to completely demolish this building and then fill in the sinkhole in front of it. Please note that the concrete used to fill the sinkhole cannot be ordinary concrete. It must be taken from the surface soil of a place where the population is prosperous, so as to nourish the dragon's veins with human energy. After the sinkhole is filled up, a square will be built above it. At the same time, it will be supplemented by Feng Shui formations to gather wind and gather energy. Only in the long run can the dragon veins below be restored. After saying that, he seemed to have thought of something again, and he casually took out something from his sleeve. In front of everyone, he threw such a thing into the bottom of the sinkhole. If you look carefully, you can still see a few strands of hair wrapped inside, and this hair is his own. Taking this opportunity, he buried his hair and skin in the dragon veins here. After doing this casually, he suddenly made a request to everyone again.